Albert Einstein, one of my favorite quotes that he has, he says, everybody's a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will go its whole life thinking that it's dumb. So you have to know what it is that you have, and you got to be willing to be consistent and stick with it, especially if you're a person of faith, for instance, and you know that this is something that God has given you. If once he give it to you, can't no man take it away. All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Manage the Mental. I am EJ, 50% of a duo that's gonna give you 100% of what we do know, and I hope that's enough. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I am privileged to be in the presence of my guy, the best co-host in the world.
What's good, y'all? My name is Terrence, licensed therapist, and I'm here with EJ, the one and only, the co-host, the mastermind behind Manage the Mental. But I'll say that too. I'm saying that, and I'm prefacing that because if you guys don't know EJ is like one of the people. He's a thinker. He has an imagination. I think that's one thing sometimes as adults we lose is like imagination. Shout out to you and your imagination to create.
Yeah, it gets me in trouble sometimes, but we're here though, so we'll take it. But yeah, that it's you never want. What's that saying? And I don't want to butcher it, but it says we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. So I think when it comes to play, definitely is a reflection and connected to imagination. Man, you got to imagine things. You got to be able to see things. It's possible. You have the data. You have the proof that things can work if you work it. Bishop T.D. Jakes would say that in one of his sermons. It work if you work it. It'll work if you work it. Wait on it.
He said, wait on it.
Wait on it. It'll work if you work it. But it's true though. I do believe that. I believe that anything that you want to do, as long as you don't, that old saying, fools rush in, you ain't got to rush. Just take your time with it. And you learn about the aggregation of marginal gain, where you just keep on doing little tweaks, but you're consistent with it. I learned that from James Clear in his book Atomic Habits, when he talked about, I think it was the UK cycling team, but he talked about the aggregation of marginal gain. Consistency is truly key. So you take consistency with imagination. You never know till you'll be on a laptop talking to somebody about all mental health. So
1,000%.
here we are,
I think
brother.
that's also a formula of faith too, right? It's understanding like what is possible. Just really put yourself in position of being faithful as well. I think it's a segment two, subject I should say, and what we're talking about today is sticking to the script, right? And this week we just hopped off of our mid-month check-in for the month of April. So
Yes.
if you guys want to join our next one, most definitely was a good time. Great conversations was had. Join managemental.com, check it out there, or you can hit the links in our description or visit our social media to join the next one. This is something that E and I are committed to doing every month, just to check in with y'all, see how y'all doing, how y'all feeling, and how we can help and how we can assist in building this community for sure. So as we're talking about just more like sticking to the script and how important that is. And many times I think we do stray away from our script, or we stray away from things. We was talking about certain companies, certain businesses, and how people really like niche down, like they know their population, they know the people they're trying to serve, and they don't stick out of that, right? Chick-fil-A stays closed on Sundays for a reason, right? I'm pretty sure they can make some more money if they could or they wanted to, but that's their principle. That's the thing they stick to. They stick it to, and they're okay with that. They're a profitable business. I think a lot of times there's so much to offer. There's so much the world has to offer to where we, I'll speak for myself, is where sometimes I get so tempted in doing other things, especially like me having my own practice and I can do this, I can do that, or I can do this here, or do that there. But at the same time, essentially, it's like, okay, one, is that what God called me to do? And then two, is that something I should be doing, right? Because just because we can be doing something, just because we can do something doesn't mean we should do something. But off air, we was talking about it a bit. I forgot the name of the grocery store. EJ.
Erewhon Grocery.
Erewhon Grocery Store. I've never been. I know E, you said you're in there too much.
They get my money. They be getting to lift it up.
They're getting all the bread, but they're one of them stores, man. They know their company. They know their population. They're a good company, and they stick to the script. I think
Mhm.
sticking to the script benefits you a lot more than trying to derail, right?
Yeah,
Horses run their race because they run it blind, they stay in their lane.
yeah,
Sticking to your
that's a
script is
fact.
like staying in your own lane, running your own race at your own pace.
T, that's a whole bar. Can you say that one more time about the horses run they can you say that's a whole bar, bro?
Percent. So races, if you guys don't know about horse racing, horses they run their race blind, meaning they have blinders on and they're assisted by their jockey. So the reason why they're able to run so effectively and so powerfully in their races is because they are blind and they're able to stay in their lane. So if you're able to stay in your lane and run your race, you can be more effective. Because a lot of times what happens with horses is they get distracted. They see another horse or whatnot. They may try to run the same as that horse or trying to outrun it or make it scared or whatever it may be. But I think it's just in our own lives, like having our own blinders on and just not being worried about what other people are doing because imposter syndrome sets in. Where it's like, okay, well, I don't think uh, I belong here because there's other people around me that's better than me, or I'm in a position where I um, may not feel good enough, right? Insecurity sets in. But when you have your blinders on, you put yourself in a position to win in that race because now what you're doing is you're focusing strictly on like what you got to do instead of what other people are doing. Because again, comparing is a big thing. I mean, social media, we talk about it all the time, is people can look at one person and be like, man, it's just that just sets in, right? We can even I'll use this for example. We can look at other people's podcasts and be like, dang, man, like, why aren't we there yet? Or, we're talking more, I would say more sensible information than other podcasts, but they're just like blowing up. Why are they blowing up and we're not blowing up or whatever it may be? But having your blinders on, sticking to the script is probably the most important thing you could do, especially if you're starting off doing something. And as you continue to grow, because again, there's a lot of influences, a lot of things out there. There's a lot of distractions that can keep you off your game for sure. But yeah, that's the importance of like keeping your blinders on, running your race at your own pace for
Yeah.
sure.
That's really, really profound, man. I actually like that. I ain't gonna lie to you. Uh there's gonna be some clients this week probably we're gonna learn about horse racing. I don't think they didn't know they was coming into session to learn about that, but that's going to definitely get thrown into the mix. I think when you talk about sticking to the script, T, one of the things that we also have to highlight is why sometimes people are not able to stick to the script. And I know you just kind of mentioned about, comparison, self-esteem and things like that. But sometimes influence, man, can gear you in the right way, a positive influence, but negative influences are just as big, if not even more impactful than positive influences. So when you look at somebody sticking to the script, they may have something going right. But if they get a negative influence, and that's all it takes is one person to get in their ear to say, oh, no, you should do this, or you should do that, you should do this, you should do that. Next thing you know, they are completely off course, and they weren't able to stick to the script. And now, once they realize that they are going in the wrong direction, sometimes it can be overwhelming to you to make people just want to quit at whatever they were doing, but it was because of that negative influence. To that I say, Albert Einstein, one of my favorite quotes that he says, everybody's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will go its whole life thinking that it's dumb. So you have to know what it is that you have, and you got to be willing to be consistent and stick with it, especially if you're a person of faith, for instance, and you know that this is something that God has given you. Once he give it to you, can't no man take it away. So any man that's sounding like he's trying to put you in another direction, or any woman that's trying to put you in a different direction, it's not good for you. It's gonna throw you off. You gotta just stick to the script. Stay in pocket. Stay where you are and what you know. You mentioned Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A obviously is mega. I can remember as a little boy back in Florissant, Missouri, going to Jamestown Mall. We used to have this a mall called Jamestown Mall, and in the food court, not even in the food court, but this one I was real, real little. They used to have like these little standoff little stands, I guess you could say that, or little counters or whatever that you would go to. And one of them was called Chick-fil-A. Same thing as it was another mall
That
called
same
Northwest
company.
Plaza. Yeah, it was called no, but no, it is Chick-fil-A, but this was before Chick-fil-A ever had a
So you're
standalone, a
saying it was like
drive-through.
in one of those little like it
A
was
little
a
bitty,
very
yeah,
small. in the
Very
mall.
little kiosk, little thing. It's called Chick-fil-A. Used to love going there because they had the little chicken nuggets or whatever like that, and they had the cool looking fries or whatever. But they stayed consistent to what they were doing. They just stayed consistent. Whatever we do, we're gonna stick with chicken. Now, we live in the United States of America where people pretty much almost eat anything. They eat, beef, fish, whatever, turkey, whatever. Nope, they said we're sticking with chicken. They didn't even hop on the whole vegetarian craze. Nope, stick with chicken. That's all you had to do. Now, when you think about it, you think about their GDP or however much they've been able to accumulate as a company over this past year. It's insane, but it's because they stuck to the script. You stick to the script, no matter how weird the outcome looks or it's like, oh, I don't know if this is gonna work or if stick with it. Stick with it. Stick with it. If it's moving, that's what it is. You want motion. As long as you have motion, hey, you're going. You may not be going as fast as you want to go, but it's not about the speed, T. It's about the direction. It's not about speed. If you got somebody that's going 80 miles per hour but they're heading in the wrong direction and you're going 20 miles per hour and you're heading in the right direction, who do you think is going to get to the proper destination first? Consistency.
Slower.
You will eventually get there. It's how it works. So consistency is big, man. When you talk about just sticking to the script, Erewhon, I believe Erewhon was I think their origin is maybe Philadelphia. It was a couple that
Okay.
started had a grocery chain, or not a grocery chain, but a small market, health food market. I think in Philadelphia. Somehow they came out to California. Somebody bought it from them, and they've just stuck with it. They've stuck with it. They could have all the popular brands, but they say, you know
Absolutely.
what? That's not what we're gonna do. We're moving into a day and a time right now where modifications are very much prevalent, and people like things specific. We were talking earlier about Zig Ziglar. He would talk about you could either be a walking generality or a meaningful specific. And he said, man, you got to be a specific, you got to be a meaningful specific. You have to know
Mhm,
what it is that you know and just stick to it.
mhm,
Stick to it. That's all you got to do. Don't worry about anything else. Stick to it. So with Erewhon, they knew like, nah, we're gonna just stay in this whole health food thing. Health food, health food, health food. People
mhm,
are living longer. In order for this to really, really work, we're in the perfect place, California, where people take their fitness very serious. So just stick with health foods. Health food. Yeah, we don't have the cachet of a Albertsons or a Ralph's or all that, but just stick with it. If they'll eventually come. And then they're very specific with it. They put it in areas where where you have upper middle class or, upper, or, just people
mhm.
that are basically high earners in society. And they put it specifically there. And now it's kind of taken off. Now you have a lot of people out there buying $20 smoothies. I will say, in all transparency, I'm not one of those people. I just go in there and buy the little shots and maybe a little piece of cake or something like that. People in there, they are every day, and
Get
it worked
into it.
out.
Get into it. Yeah. I mean, the product is sticking to the script, man. I think that's even just what you're saying resonates to me a lot because again, I have my own. I think when you have a creative mind, your mind can go a lot of places. Right? So, oh, we can do this. Even with the podcast, we mentioned like so many things we can do just as we're getting started. Um, because we both have a creative mind.
Hmm.
It's like a gift, but then it's like, yeah, there's a limitation to it. So for anybody listening, I think even what he was saying with the Erewhon, the grocery store, I think we've seen it time and time again when you go off your script. Because at one point in time, Erewhon Whole Foods was like that, right? Until they got
Hmm.
bought out, right? And then they started I guess the business model changed to where they wanted more accessible food for folks that may not be able to afford it. Amazon, took that over. But at some point in time, we see the shift in it. It's like Whole Foods still has a certain status, but it's not as what it was before because of the accessibility. You can go in there and buy regular types of food as well, right? Amazon has its own products they push in there as well too. But sticking to your script does pay off. Knowing who your audience is, knowing who you serve, knowing what your God given talent is, and what you're supposed to be doing is super important.
Yeah.
1000%. But yeah, man, I think that's we had a lot of stuff to say off air, but I think this is a big, big part, and I hope the folks that's listening, this really resonates to y'all.
Yeah, stick with it.
Yeah, the sticks
Stick
with
with it.
it, you know,
Whatever you're
even
doing,
if
if
it
you're
doesn't
listening
work,
to this.
right? If it's not working, like, cause you can be working on something and be like, okay, I don't have the results, or I ain't got the views, or I ain't got this, that, and the third. But stick to your script, stay in your lane. Larry June says small numbers add up, right? He's really a big
Do it.
component about like running numbers and things of that nature. It's like do a little bit every day, and those numbers will add up. You
Yeah.
lay a brick
And
a
if
day,
you
you'll eventually have a
and
brick
if you
house.
have motion, you're going in the right direction. Now you
Mhm,
have to be patient.
mhm.
You have to be patient. And now it's knowing about time. It's a timing thing. Just stick to the script. Don't waver. The opportunity will come.
Yes, sir. Do you think it's a good time to start the dry down?
Yeah, yeah. Let's see what we working with today, man.
Okay. So for those who's new, and those who have been listening, this is the part of our segment we call the dry down. E and I have a passion for fragrances, and this is our opportunity to share our scents of the day, the scents we've been wearing, are the ones that are new to our collection. I brought a one from my probably my one or two houses. It goes between the two, but it's from Armage or Amouage, I should say. It's called Enclave. For those who may be seeing it, I got a decant, and I ain't got the whole bottle because the whole bottle is a little bit more. But this is Enclave.
No, you didn't put a dent in that, boy.
Yeah, yeah. What was crazy when I was mentioning before is like I didn't like this fragrance before, bro. But it's grown on me. I think I seen a post about it on TikTok, and I was like, you know, I got that decant somewhere in the deep depths of of my collection. So I went in my old bag of tricks. I'm like Felix the Cat and got this one. I was like, well, this actually does smell pretty decent. Now it opens up with some mint, and that's the thing that I think would turn a lot of people off is like that mint opening, because it's literally like you're just spraying like toothpaste on your body.
Right.
Once it dries down, the dry down is like the dry down is the star of the show. Um, it dries down to like this like more like woody type of vibe, or more of a base of fruity. I think this is more of like a summer spring type of joint. But yeah, Enclave by Armage is most definitely, you know, when I get, I think this will be one of those ones. Either I keep a bigger decant of, or at some point in time get a full bottle. Again, just an amazing fragrance. Amouage is one of those ones. You know, when we do talk about sticking to your script, they're one of the
They're
ones that
doing
stick to the
well.
script,
They're
even with
doing
their new
well.
fragrance. Always high quality stuff. They don't lure into the okay, we need to make a budget fragrance or whatever it may be. They stick to the script, and you know, even though it's gotten a lot of popularity over time, the quality doesn't change because you know they know their audience, they know their you know they stick in the Middle East with their manufacturer. They don't move it to the U.S. because you know there's more traction or whatever in the U.S. But yeah, this is just it's just a high quality, very very high quality products. So shout out to Amouage and their you know the culture they have going on over there. And what's crazy, side note with Amouage, if you didn't know, they also stick to the script by not changing a lot of their business models. So the crazy thing is, and you know, maybe we'll be the first people to ever get it, but they don't sponsor people to do posts. So like you may have like
Mm,
YSL. I see Armani do it a lot. Chanel, Dolce Gabbana, they'll sponsor people to like, hey, you know, this is our scent, run ads, things of that nature. Armage, they don't send or they don't really sponsor a lot of folks. I wouldn't say like they don't sponsor people at all. Maybe I'll take that back. But I know a lot of influencers that I follow, like literally like send letters and letters. And they have like 500,000 followers and it just don't get sent to them. Now if they do get sent a fragrance, it's usually from a third party. It's usually from like a
mm.
Joma Shop, a Fragnet, or Mystic
Scent split.
Perfume, Scent Split, or something like that. Like they'll send them, but Amouage as a company
Why's that?
will not send you no free products.
Yeah. Would you say Rolls Royce? You ain't never seen a Rolls Royce commercial on TV?
Bar. I think we can end the episode on that. That's a bar right there. You ain't gonna see it. But for some reason they sell, right? E? So for some reason some people still driving it.
Yeah. Yeah.
For
Yeah.
some
But they
reason.
know if you know, and you don't never change. You don't
Mhm.
change that business model, whatever that model is. And so to end it for you all, whatever it is that you're doing, and you know you've been called to do it. You know what I mean? Not that you've been lured in to do it. We ain't talking about that. I'm talking about something that you know you've been called to do. Wait for it. Stick to it. Continue to go. Even when the speedometer looks like it's only going 5 miles per hour. Hey, stop looking at the speedometer and pay attention to the compass. Are you going in the right direction? If you're going in the right, you will pick up speed. You got to know sometimes you're going to have inclines, and then sometimes you're going to be able to hit a decline. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, though, just keep moving. Are you going, if you're going in the right direction, you'll be all right. Don't give up on it. Don't let anybody tell you to give up on it, especially when you've been called to do it. Now, if you've been convinced to do it, if you've been lured into do, if you've been challenged to do it, if you've been forced to do it, if you've been manipulated to do it, yeah, those are things that we may be able to find some type of way to conclude and to close out. We can probably close those ambitions out. But if you've been called to do something, you know this is your life's work, pay attention to the compass, regardless of what the speedometer has said. As long as you're not in park and you're not in reverse and you're not in neutral, just keep going. You'll pick up speed.
Yes, sir.
Aggregation of marginal gains.
Yes,
It
sir.
happens.
Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Uh, yeah, this was a good one, man.
Hmm.
This was a really good one. This is gonna be a forever evergreen for sure. And go back years from now. I'm gonna be, I know today is April 14th, 2026. I will mark it on my calendar a year from today to go back to this episode and listen to it again.
Yes, sir.
And 5 years after that, and just really see, just being living proof of what we're talking about. That's gonna be
Yep.
dope.
Being
Gonna
those
be dope.
examples.
Yes, sir. All right, we are Men is the Mental. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, do all the great things. Keep these podcasts, these conversations going. Make sure you share with somebody that maybe a loved one, somebody, you're like, oh, these two dudes got a podcast. They're licensed therapists. They talking that talk, all that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we appreciate y'all for tapping in. And we will catch you on the next one.
All right.